Hi, my name is Paul Sargent. Welcome once again to AP Euro Bit by Bit, the series in which I'm trying to teach you modern European history in small bite-sized pieces so that you can better understand it. And we are in AP review mode here. I've talked to you about how to approach studying for the exam already, and we've talked about the multiple choice section of the exam. Now we come to the second half of the first half of the test, if that makes any sense. Let's hope it does. Anyway, now we come to what's called the short answer questions. And these are a little bit different. So let's take a look at what they are. So the multiple choice questions really looked at your reaction to stimuli, your ability to understand the major sweep of European history, and your ability to weed out answers that don't fit. Now, when it comes to the short answer questions, these are very different. These are really going to hit at your ability to know stuff. And so, you kind of hope that of the 4 questions you're going to be asked, and you have to answer all 4, that you're going to know something about the periods that they're talking about, because this is the section, the only section I think, where if you don't know about the question, you're stuck. For example, if you're asked about why the Peace of Westphalia is a turning point in European history, or why the Renaissance is a turning point in European history, or why World War I is a turning point in European history, or why, gosh, anything is a turning point in world history, then you have to know what it is, and if you don't know what it is, then you're going to have a hard time answering that question. Now, the questions in the short answer section will be of different types. Some will have a stimulus associated with them, like in the multiple choice section, and some will not. The stimulus being there may help you answer the question, but those ones that have no stimulus whatsoever, you're kind of on your own. Now, in the short answer section, you're going to have 50 minutes to answer 4 questions, and each of those questions will have 2 or 3 different parts to it. That seems like pretty much a rush. I mean, 4 into 50, you're looking at what, like 12 minutes pretty much, 12 and a half minutes for each question. And if you're answering 3 parts, that's 4 minutes per part. It doesn't seem like a lot, and your brain's got to sort of like go. But here's the good news. This is all the space they give you. All right? So you don't have to write much. They're not expecting you to go off on this thing, but they are expecting you to answer directly the question. Now, if you've taken another exam, and you may have taken AP Government at this point, boy, you're going to be ready for this one, because this short answer section seems to me to be a lot like the FRQ section of the AP Government exam. They want you to answer the question directly. And so, good piece of advice would be simply this. For each part of the question, answer it in 3 or 4 sentences. Absolutely directly. If it asks you to explain one way in which then just 3 or 4 sentences about here's one way in which and then you move on. Because you don't have space. I mean, you know, you're kind of crunched. And if you have big handwriting and you like the big swirly letters, I would spend a little time trying to cramp that down, because you will run out of space and there just isn't any more. So, the key here is to answer the question absolutely directly as best you can. Now, the short answer questions will each address a specific historical thinking skill, but the ones they're going to address are probably going to divide into 2 main categories. One will be contextualization. Can you frame an answer and show that you understand what's going on in a particular context? That you know the broader scope of what's happening, and you're able to put things into perspective using specific details. Again, if you go to my website and you look at the concept outline, you can see exactly what they're going to be looking for, and those are the specific details that I'm guessing they're probably looking for. So going through that document, through those pages, might be a pretty good idea. The other thing they're going to ask you to do is to be able to think chronologically. In other words, do you understand how things progress over time? Are you able to understand how the middle class grew over the period from 1450, when there was like almost none, to the present day when the middle class is the largest class of all of them in the Western world? Are you able to understand that women got rights along the way and have some idea of maybe when they got some of those rights, 20th century, and maybe the effects of industrialization on the family, or maybe the sweep of the way that art develops from, the Renaissance, which is completely awesome, to kind of just abandoning all rules of art and ending up with, modern and postmodern, and maybe even if you really wanted to think about a postmodern art to this. So you want to be able to understand that you are able to put things in a chronological order. Now, when answering these questions, my best advice is don't beat around the bush. No introductions, no big sort of like flowery sentences or anything. Just answer the question. All right? Pretend you're sitting in class, you know the answer, and your teacher has just said, okay, in 3 sentences, answer this, and then go and do that. If you can do that, you can do well on the short answer question. Now, there are 4 of these, and you are going to have to keep an eye on time. So my advice would be take 2 or 3 minutes at the beginning of this section. Look at the questions that are being asked and rank them 1 to 4. 1 being the question that you probably have the best knowledge about, and 4 being the one where it's like, ooh, this is going to be kind of tough. And answer them in that order. Now, if the example that I just showed you with a piece of paper that had the big Q1 on it that fell down to the ground, so I can't pick it up right now, if that's what it's going to look like, then please, answer on the right piece of paper. If not, somewhere indicate that you're answering question number 3 in this section, if that's the first one that you're answering. But give yourself the time to answer well the questions that you know stuff about. And if you get down to the 4th one and you don't have a lot of time, then give it the best you can, because that's the one that you've already identified as the one that you don't know much about. So you're not going to have much to say anyway. So, it's not going to make that much difference. Finally, it has been put out there that bulleted answers will not be accepted, that these all have to be in complete sentences. Please, please remember this piece. Do not bullet this section. You could bullet and have everything right, and according to what I understand from this, you would get a 0 on it, even though you had all the information, because you didn't use complete sentences. So use complete sentences. So that, in a nutshell, is the short answer section. We've gotten halfway through the exam, and at this point, you're going to set down your pen, and you're going to take a deep breath, and you're going to get a break. And so we're going to take a break here before we move on to the next section, which is maybe one of the secret hidden treasures of the AP Euro exam, the document-based question. But until then, as always, my name's Paul Sargent. This is AP Euro Bit by Bit, and I hope these little hints are going to help you as you get ready for the AP Euro exam. So please subscribe to my channel and share it out with other people so that they too can get the benefit of my, somewhat informed knowledge about what might be on this exam. Keep in mind that all of us are a little bit in the dark this year because this is the first time this is happening. Having said that, I'm going to have to re-record this entire video next year if it turns out to be wrong. But it won't, right? Let's hope so. Anyway, hope you have yourselves a great day, and tune in next time for the document-based question. Take care.